Welcome to Money Patterns Decoded. Money is never just about money. It is a pattern. Today we expose one of those hidden patterns, see exactly how it controls your finances, and discover the precise shift that can set you free. Let's begin. Here's a blunt image. Imagine a garden where every seed refuses to touch the soil until it's been photographed, approved, and declared worthy. You'd have a tidy, empty bed, great at looking ready, terrible at producing fruit. Most of our wealth problems look like that garden. Not lack of opportunity, but a refusal to begin at zero. We wait for the perfect launch, the flawless resume, the credential that proves we deserve the growth. In the meantime, compound interest, market learning, customers, practice, all of it moves on without us. I call this unconscious agreement the 0-point contract. In the next 7 minutes, I'll decode how that contract forms, why it's powerful, and give you one micro-experiment you can do today. 5 minutes, one small coin, one clear journal line that starts rewiring your money identity from the ground up. No spiritual bypass, no wishful thinking, a precise habit that compounds. First, the psychological mechanism. The 0-point contract is built from 3 threads: perfectionism, identity inertia, and fear of humiliation. Perfectionism tells you the beginning must be polished. Identity inertia whispers that who you are now can't include awkward starts, and fear of humiliation keeps you invisible to avoid shame. These are not moral failures. They're survival plays from early learning, social comparison, and status systems. Practically what it looks like is waiting for a course to finish, a certification to arrive, a business plan to be perfect, or postponing a simple listing on a marketplace because the photos aren't right yet. Each delay trains your brain to value the idea of worthiness over the act of starting. Over time, inertia thickens into a rule. I start only when worthy, and that rule is the contract. Here's the trickier part. On the surface, those threads feel spiritual. I'm waiting for a clearer calling, you might say. But waiting becomes a cloak for fear. You trade actual growth for the comfort of an imagined readiness. Most people don't see their money patterns because they live inside them. That invisibility is the pattern's power. Second, the esoteric mechanism. In sacred geometry and many inner alchemy traditions, 0 is not nothing. It is the fertile void, the origin point from which form emerges. Consider a circle. The center is a point with no dimension, but without that point the circumference has no origin. Numerologically, 0 magnifies. It allows number to become a field. Rosicrucian readings call the void the prima materia, the raw, undifferentiated substance the alchemist works with. If you reject 0, you reject the womb of possibility. Energetically, that creates a blockage. Your attention avoids the origin, your intentions bypass the field where change begins, and you attempt to start from some later, already formed place that doesn't exist yet. Put another way, there's a geometry to starting. If you never touch the origin point, your lines never connect. The money flow needs an origin ritual, a small, repeatable act that signals to both your nervous system and your accounts. Beginnings are allowed here. That's why tiny habits beat big vows. Tiny habits anchor the origin point in lived experience. Now the reframe, a metaphor to change what 0 means to you. Imagine 0 not as absence, but as soil. Soil looks empty until you plant. Then it's everything. Microbes, moisture, potential. If you regard 0 as lack, you feel shame and freeze. If you regard 0 as soil, you feel possibility and act. That shift is small in language and huge in felt experience. You move from fear to tending. You stop judging the seed's size and start tending its placement. The emotion changes your metabolism, and the metabolism changes your financial behavior. Which brings us to the practical. The beginner's coin. Your 5-minute micro-experiment to recondition that contract. Step 1. Choose a coin size you will not argue with. 1 unit you can repeat every day. For many listeners, that's $1 or $2 or the local equivalent. The exact number is not important. The habit is. Step 2. Link it to a single action. 3 options. Small save, small offer, or small invest. Example. Transfer the coin to a savings bucket, list a $1 service on a marketplace, or move the coin into a tiny diversified micro savings account. Step 3. Journal 1 line immediately after. I began today, underscore, underscore, underscore. No commentary, no justification, just logging the origin. Do this 5 minutes per day for 2 weeks. Why it works. You create a low-friction origin point, a repeated tiny transaction that trains your reward circuitry away from waiting and into starting. You convert the abstract permission to start into a literal deposit, offer, or tiny investment. Over time, the account balance, the public listing, and the one-line journal create objective evidence that you're allowed to begin. One shift changes your financial destiny. Practical guardrails. Because beginners need boundaries, not blind leaps. Rule 1. Cap the coin at a small fixed amount. No chasing a bigger experiment until the 2-week run finishes. Rule 2. Do not use credit or borrow to fund the micro-experiment. This is about identity, not leverage. Rule 3. Pair the coin with a stoic check before action. Ask, will this matter in a year? If yes, proceed. If no, scale down the emotion and keep the habit mechanical. Journal prompts. What did beginning feel like? What resistance came up? What did the ledger show? These simple records keep the work honest and prevent ego inflation. Graduation. After 2 weeks, review the records. If you made all sessions, scale by 1 step. Not by doubling bravado, but by adding structure. Schedule a weekly review, create a dedicated micro account, or make 1 small public offer with a clear refund policy. The key is incremental evidence, not theatrical launches. Keep the origin ritual sacred. It's the soil you return to when doubt rises. Quick recap, the 0-point contract keeps you waiting for worthiness. Psychologically, it's perfectionism, identity inertia, and shame. Esoterically, it's a refusal of the fertile void, the geometric origin that allows form. The reframe turns 0 into soil. The beginner's coin is the 5-minute habit that anchors the origin in practice. Money is a pattern. Awareness is the key. If you want the full architecture, rituals, journal templates, and expansion protocols that guide a beginner to meaningful scaling without ego traps, explore my complete library at Desmarques.com. The library collects the precise decodes and rituals that let you graduate from the soil to the orchard, honestly and steadily. That is the money pattern. That is the mechanism. And that is your shift today. If you're ready to decode the full architecture of your financial life, explore my complete library at Desmarques.com. Money is a pattern. Awareness is the key.